In this video, we are going to build end-to-end Gen AI project using Llama 3.2 open source model, LangChain framework, Streamlit and Groq. The project is called LinkedIn Post Generator. This tool will be useful to LinkedIn influencers such as Muskan Handa. She writes posts on mental health, job search, scam, etc. and she has 83,000 followers. What we will do is we'll go over Muskan's previous post, we will extract the key topics out of it and then build this UI where she can select any of the topics that she usually writes content on. She'll be able to select the language, the post length, and when you click that generate button, it will use LLM to create a new post which will match her style of writing. Folks, this is not a toy project, it's a real tool that will be useful to LinkedIn influencers, including myself. This project is perfect for your resume and project portfolio. Let's brainstorm how we are going to build this tool. When you look at a person like Muskan, she writes on topics like mental health, job search, scam, whereas Akshat Srivastava, who is a finance influencer, writes posts on investment, minimalism, India, etc. Everyone has their own expertise and they will write on certain topics. So what we can do is, for each of these people, we can look at their post and extract these topics. And then we can build this kind of tool using Streamlit where all the topics on which they have written the past post are available. You can also provide post length, language, etc. and when you hit generate, it will generate the post which will match that particular influencer's writing style. Now, if you think about technical architecture, there will be two stages. In stage 1, we will be doing pre-processing. Here, you will go through the post of that particular person. You will somehow grab them. So in this project, we are going to manually grab them, but there are ways to automatically collect this data. Once you have these posts in, let's say, JSON file or database or CSV file. In our case, we are using this JSON file where there will be a text. This text is, by the way, cut off, but actually it's entire text. Then you have engagement numbers and so on, and you will use LLM. So we are using Llama 3.2. You can use any other LLM as well. And this LLM will extract these tags. You see these tags, this language, this line count. So it is enriching this JSON object. So we had these two fields initially, and it extracted these extra fields. Once this is done, in stage 2, you will do post generation. So for that, you will get the enriched JSON object and you will fetch the topics, unique topics. Okay. So right now, each post, as you see here, has two tags, right? Tags or topics, these two, correct? So you will go through all the topics from this post, you will merge them, you will consolidate them and create a unique list of topics for which a given influencer will usually write post on. And then you also have this length, right? So as you can see, you have post length. Sometimes I want to write short post, medium, small, and then there is a language. So by the way, there is an English language. And another language is Hinglish. Hinglish is a combination of Hindi and English. Some influencers from India, they use a mix of Hindi and English, and that is called Hinglish. So now you have built this Streamlit UI, okay? You selected topic, length, language. When you hit generate button, it is going to create a prompt. So we will do some prompt engineering. Using that, it will create a nice prompt and that will be given to Llama 3.2, which will eventually generate the post. To summarize, we are going through these raw posts, then we are doing pre-processing, creating this enriched post. Enriched post has topic, language, length, etc. And in stage 2, a user can select topic, language, length. It will generate a prompt. We will use few short learning to retrieve some of the posts which belong to this particular topic, language, length, and so on. And then we will use Llama 3.2 to create a final post. Now, folks, here, these raw posts that you're seeing here we are manually getting them, but there is an automated way to get it, and that is by using Bright Data. Bright Data is a sponsor of this video, and they provide these kind of ready-made data sets. Usually you have to pay money to download this data set, but Bright Data has provided a special link which you can find in a video description below. Using that, you will be able to download some of these data sets. So just go to datasets and filter on LinkedIn dataset, and you will be able to download some of the records. Bright Data is also a web scraping tool, and they use this proxy network to scrap data from internet. If you're writing a plain Python script and scraping internet, the website will detect you as a bot and they will block you. But here they are using this proxy network. Due to that, the data collection is smoother. Now there are some benefits of using this kind of data set from Bright Data, which is it is a fresh data, it is pre-collected for you, so you don't have to write any script, and you will only pay for the data that you need. Alright, as a next step, we are going to set up a Groq account. We will use Llama 3.2 model on Groq Cloud. Groq allows you to perform fast inference. You don't have to download 20 GB model on your computer. It has a lot of benefit and it is free. So you can log in using email, or you can log in using Google, etc. I have already logged in. The first thing you're going to do here is create an API key. So click on API key here, create an API key, just call it whatever. I mean, I have already created my key, so I'm just showing this here. Copy this. This is like a password, so keep it private. I'm going to delete it because I have already created this key. Okay, so let me just delete it. But in your case, you would have created a key, copied it, and save it somewhere, because you can't access it next time. So you need to save it somewhere. By mistake, if there isn't any problem, you can always delete and create a new API key. I have created this new folder, LinkedIn post generator, under C code learning directory to store my project source code. Now I will go to PyCharm. I hope you are aware about PyCharm code editor, and open that particular folder. So when I say file open, here I'm going to open the learning LinkedIn post generator. Okay, in a new window, and usually it will create this main.py file, and you can configure your Python interpreter to be, let's say, Python 3.10. Okay, now I will first work on stage 1, which is getting that raw data and then post-processing it. So let me create a new folder here called data. In this, I will have a file called raw post.json. JSON is a format that we'll be using, and here I want to put all those posts. Now what I have done is I went through Muskan's LinkedIn. I literally like copy pasted these posts into a notepad file. Then I used some AI tool. You can use ChatGPT, Meta AI. I use meta.ai tool, and I said that if I give you a text, return a JSON object where text is the content of your LinkedIn post. We want that LinkedIn post to be a single string, so that if you have line breaks, like see you have this line breaks and spaces, that will be substituted by this /n. Okay, so that way I can have a single long string for a post. I will also have a parameter called engagement. Now this engagement parameter we are not going to use, but later on for the project enhancement this can be very useful. So I'm asking it to create this kind of output text, and then I copy pasted the post from Muskan's LinkedIn, and see, it gave me this kind of a JSON object. So I repeated that process for some 10 or 11 posts. I mean, you can have more posts, more the better. I'm using like some 10 or 11 posts, and you can see that if you have 2 line breaks, it will do /n/n. You can also give explicit instruction. Later on, see, I gave the instruction saying that one more instruction, if there are double quotes inside the text, convert them to a single quote. Correct? Because see, if there is a double quote here and inside if there is a double quote, it will create problem, you know, from the JSON format. So I did all of that, and I created this kind of JSON file. As you can see, there are, I think, 10 or 11 records, and this engagement 9347 is nothing, but this engagement number is 703. Here it is 213. So I did everything manually, but as I said before, if you want, you can use Python, Bright Data tool. You can also buy ready-made dataset from Bright Data for this purpose. Now we will create a file called preprocess.py. Okay, and here let me create a main function. So I will have a function called process post. Okay, so this is the function that I want to create, process post, and this should take two arguments, raw file path and processed file path. If someone doesn't give the processed file path, then you can have some default path such as data/processed post.json. So we have a data folder which stores the raw JSON as well as the processed JSON. So here I will give these two file path. Raw post.json, process post.json is the new file that we will create after processing this. Now let's open that file. So the code syntax is pretty simple. You're opening this file as file, and then you can use JSON library. You might be aware, right? Like import JSON, and then you can do JSON.load that will load that file, and you will get this post object. Okay. What I like to do usually is write some code, then quickly test it, and then move on. Okay. So here you can, I think, simply print the post. So let's do this. Right click, run, and see, it is able to get the post from the file, and it has created this list of this dictionary objects, right? Like, see, if you just scroll further, you will see all these posts are read fine, and this post is nothing but a list. And then for each of these posts, so you will say for post in post, you want to extract some extra information. So I will call that function extract metadata, and you will pass post text, because if you look at it, the post, each of these posts, so one post is this, second post is this, they have this element text, and that will give you the actual text for that LinkedIn post. I will pass that to this new function which I'm going to create, by the way. So let me just create that function, extract metadata, and that should return the tags like the line count, the language, the tags, and so on. So right now I'm just going to make it like a skeleton function, and here, I mean, essentially what we expect this function to return is, let's say it has a line count. Okay, and we will be using LLM for it. So I'm just kind of mocking things up. Then we will plug LLM later on. Then it has a language. Let's say language, which is English. And then the tags, let's say tag is mental health, and let's say motivation, for example. And that you will store in metadata. Now, what you have is this post, right? So this post will have the actual text, correct, ABC, and then engagement number, whatever, let's say 345 is the engagement, and this metadata will have all these things, right? Like let me just put it here. So let's say metadata has this, these tags. Now these two are dictionary objects, and you want to basically essentially join these two objects, because at the end of the day you want to create a single dictionary which has all these keys, which has text, engagement, line count, and so on. And in Python you can do this using a pipe operator. So if you do post and pipe operator metadata, what you get is post with metadata. And to store these individual posts with metadata, I can create a separate list. So I will say enriched post, right? You can give any variable name, by the way, so it's not like you have to say only enriched post. So post with metadata. And then what I will do is for ePost, which is enrich post, in enrich post print ePost. So I will just test this function. I know we are returning dummy values, folks, but I am just testing our wiring. We will plug the LLM code later on. So right click, run. When I do that, you see, like, you're seeing this individual post, right? Like, so you have this post, then you have engagement. Now see, you have line count, language, tags, and this is the object that you would love or you would like to store in the new file, which is this processed post.json. Now we have to call LLM. So we need to write basic code for LLM. So here, what I will do is create a new file. Let's call it maybe LLM Helper. Okay, so here we'll write LLM code. You'll also have to create a new file called .env. Now .env is the environment file which will store your Groq key. So folks, create this Groq API key variable in the environment file and enter the environment key that you have created. Every one of you will have a different environment key. It usually starts with GSK. I'm not going to show you my key because it's sort of like a password, but just save that here. Okay, so I have saved my key in .environment file, and here I will call this function from .environment import load.environment. So when you call this function, it will go to .env file, and that Groq API key variable that we had, it will set that as an environment variable. I will also import few other modules. So we are going to use langchain underscore Groq and import chat Groq from there. Okay. And then we'll create this variable chat Groq. Here, Groq API key. Groq API key is going to be os.get environment. So when you do this, you will get a value of an environment variable. What is the name of my environment variable? Well, it is this. And then you will have model name. So folks, make sure that you give appropriate model name. It can change, by the way. So right now I am giving this Llama 3.2 90B text preview, 90 billion parameter. Okay. Tomorrow, if you're checking this video after 2 months or 6 months, see, they keep on releasing new models. So if there is a new model that you want to try, don't say, okay, I'm getting an error. Just try it, folks. Use common sense. So whatever model you want to use from here, I'm using 90B text preview. So that's what I will give here. Let me just copy paste. So this is my model. Now we will quickly test this code. What I do is I write individual Python file and then create a main function, and then you can invoke LLM. So I will say, I will ask very difficult and very important question. What are the 2 main ingredients in samosa? Okay. Very crucial question for our economy. And then print response dot content. Right click, run. And when you do that, see, pastry or dough filling, okay, tomatoes or whatever. So our wiring is perfect. So when you do LLM.invoke, it is using this environment key. It is going to Groq cloud. You are not running your Llama 3.2 model locally. It is going into the cloud, fetching the response, and that thing is working okay. I'm back to my preprocess.py file. Here I will import some important libraries. Okay, I don't want to type just to save the recording time. And by the way, you need to have all these modules installed, right? Whatever modules we are using, do pip install that module. Later on, I will provide requirement.txt file as well, and you can simply do pip install -r requirements.txt in your command prompt. But until then, you can also like just say pip install langchain core, pip install a dot environment. Folks, again, these are all common sense. You need to have some Python basics in order to work on this project. So I'm not going super explicit on those fronts. Now we have imported these important classes. Let me implement this extract metadata function. So what is the purpose? The post, which is just a block of text, from that we need to extract these 3 elements using the LLM call. So I will create a prompt. So what is the prompt? So in the prompt, you want to say something like this. You are given a LinkedIn post. You need to extract number of lines, language of the post and text. Now coming up with the right prompt requires some trial and error, some experimentation. You have to do some prompt engineering for that. I worked on it a few times, and after some iterations, I came up with this prompt where I'm giving explicit instructions. I'm saying return a valid JSON, no preamble. No preamble means, say in ChatGPT, when I say give me a sample Python code, whatever question I type, before it gives the actual answer, so actual answer is this, it will also write this kind of text that, hey, here is your code, nice question, here is what I think. So all this extra text that it gives is called preamble. I'm not interested in that. I want a simple JSON object. I'm also saying that tags is an array of text tags, extract maximum 2 tags. I don't want to extract more than 2 tags, because this thing can go like super open-ended and it can extract 100 tags. I want to restrict it to 2 tags. Then I'm saying language should be English or Hinglish, and I'm giving it an understanding of what Hinglish means. Hinglish means Hindi plus English, and then here is the actual post. Now see, this post you will write it in the curly bracket, and then we will use prompt template from LangChain to replace that post with the actual post. So now let's use this class prompt template. Okay, so I'm saying prompt template from template. Okay, so this is my template PT. Let's say PT is the template, and then my chain is LLM and PT. Now what is LLM? So LLM is something we created already, if you remember, from LLM Helper import LLM. So this will call Llama 3.2, and using this syntax pipe operator, you can create a chain. Chain means basically you are supplying this prompt to that LLM and you are just calling invoke. So you can just say chain.invoke and then the input. Okay, the input is this. Okay, what is the input? Okay, post. So here's a post, and there you will give this. So this post that you're giving here is whatever you got from this function argument, and this post corresponds to this. So if you write ABC here, type ABC here, and that is your response. I will create a JSON parser basically, and then using that I will say JSON parser dot parse. So JSON parser dot parse. Okay, so response dot content. So when LLM returns your response, dot content will have the actual answer. So you want to parse that, and that is your response. And I will just return this response. Okay, so I can remove my dummy response now. I will also protect this code in a try catch block. So see, I'm using try except, and in case there is some problem with output parsing, you can use this one. Okay, so now this I think looks good to me. So let's test this out. We have already printed the enriched post here, so I just want to see how it looks. Okay, this I got because I think this should be, the order is like the prompt template and then the LLM. So let me run it again. I hope this should work okay. It's taking time, so I'm assuming it's gonna work okay this time. All right, it worked okay. Now let's check these things. Okay, so you have text, and for that text, see, it worked. So tags is LinkedIn influencer, organic growth, LinkedIn scams, job scams. Now see, I'm seeing some repetitive tags. I want unified tags, basically less number of tags, where things like LinkedIn scams and job scams is just called scam. Okay, another thing I want is career advice. Okay, and then job search, just check that. So here it is having space between 2 words, everything is in a lowercase, whereas here it is kind of a capital case, but there is no space. So there is ununiformity in these tags. So I want to post process these tags and make them uniform. So essentially, let's say all these posts have different tags: job search, job hunt, job hunting. I will just unify them. I will just map them to a single clean tag such as job search. This will be in capital case, which means if there are two words, there will be space in between. Every word starts with a capital letter and so on. So let's write a function called get unified tags, and I will pass this as an input, and this will be unified tags. It will return that as an output. And here def get unified tags. So there is a post with metadata, so we are passing all the post. Now I will use Python set to get the unique tags, because in the post itself there might be repeated tags, so I want to remove all the duplicates. So I will say unique tags is equal to set. Once again, you need Python fundamentals, folks. Set is used to remove the repetitive tags. So for post, in post with metadata, unique tags dot update. So this is how you add a list to a set, and it will create the unique entries. So here post text, not text, actually tags. And then this unique tags, which is a set, I want to create a comma separated string. For example, job search, mental health, whatever, scams. So I will give this to LLM. So I will make another query. I will say to LLM that I am giving you, let's say, list of tags, unify them. For example, I will make this kind of LLM call so that I get this unified tags. So let's do that here. So how do you create this kind of string? How do you create that? So here you can just say dot join unique tags. I'll just call it unique tags list. And this unique tags list will be this kind of string containing all the tags separated by comma. Now, folks, I tried couple of prompts and I came up with this kind of a query that I will be making to LLM. I will give you a list of tags. You need to unify them with the following requirements. Tags are unified and merged to create a shorter list. For example, job search, job hunting can be all merged to job search. Motivation, inspiration, drive can be mapped to motivation. So I gave just 4 examples. If you give more examples, it's better. So as this project evolves, you will keep on appending more examples. This is also called few shot learning, where you help LLM by giving some examples so that LLM can understand those examples and produce the output that you expect. Each tag should follow the title case convention. Title case means words are separated by space and the first letter in each word is capital. Object should be JSON, no preamble. Output should be a mapping of original tag and unified tag. So what I'm doing is, if you have job seeker, then job search, job hunting, job search. So I want this kind of dictionary. So if I have a dictionary, I can apply that dictionary on my processed JSON object, and I can replace those tags which are not in a good shape. Now, folks, this code is same as the code that we have written before. So I don't want to again type it and waste your time. I just copy pasted. It's pretty straightforward, same as this function. You're calling LLM with this particular prompt. Okay, folks, so this unified tags will look something like this. So it's a dictionary object which looks something like this. Now, what I want to do is I want to go through my enriched post. So for post, in enriched post, I want to get the existing tags. Okay, I want to get the existing tags from that post. So I will say current tags are these, and from those tags, let's say if current tag is job seeker, you want job search because it's a new, like better, clean tag. So you will create a new array called new tags, and you will use list comprehension. Okay, so for tag in current tags, what do you want to do? Well, for each tag in current tags, you want to look into this dictionary and say tag, so that you get the new tag. So unified tag is this dictionary. When you supply old tag, let's say job seeker, you get job search as a return value, and this is just a list comprehension. Now there is a chance you can get same tag 2 times. Okay, so to avoid that chance, instead of list comprehension, I will use set comprehension so that everything is unique. And then the new tags is nothing but this. Okay, now this is a set, so I will just convert it into a list, and that's it, folks. Now my enriched tag posts are ready to be written to a output file. So I will open that processed file path and just do json.dump, so it will write it to a file. Okay, so now let's right click and run this whole thing. Okay, let me just remove this unnecessary code from here. Okay, this is looking good. Okay, this is my input and I expect to create this file. Okay, so this file does not exist right now. I'm going to create it. So right click, run. It's gonna take some time. Meanwhile, let me just exit out of my meditation. Now you can see this new file, processed post. Sometimes you have to say reload from disk and then it will show up. And look at this now. Wonderful. So I had this raw file. Okay, just a LinkedIn influencer with organic growth, and in that it added these three new tags. Okay, initially I had just these two, but preprocess.py file added all these new tags. So we are done with step 1, folks. As a next step, we want to build this kind of user interface where we see all the topics in this drop down. There is length and language as well, but those things we can hard code. Length will be short, medium, long. Language will be English and Hinglish. But for the topics, we need to look into this processed post and get all these tags basically. Okay, so we'll just combine them into a single list. What I'm going to do is create a new file called few-shots. Now, why is it called few-shot? Because we are going to use few-shot learning, which is when we give this prompt to LLM, we will provide some sample text. So let's say if a person is saying, I want to write English post short, okay, so line count is 1 and job search is a topic. Then we will give this as a sample to our LLM. We'll say, okay, write the post in this kind of format. And that approach is called few-shot. So therefore I'm calling this few-shot, and we will create a class, actually Python class called few-shot post. Okay. And in the init, we will provide a file path. So the file path is that particular file, which is this particular file. Okay. So here there is data. Okay. So there is no directory like this. So data, under data, you have preprocessed post.json. Okay. So now what should we do? See, when you think about this programming logic, you need to think step by step. So in our case, we have this kind of UI where we need these 3 control, and eventually what we will do is we will search using language, length, and particular topic. And when you want to do this kind of search, you can run a SQL query if you have a database. But here we have a JSON file, which we can download maybe to Pandas data frame. Because if you download it to Pandas data frame, if you load it in Pandas data frame, you will be able to do some search queries. You can say, okay, if topic is job search, length is medium, language is English, return me those posts, which we can use for few-shot learning. So I'm thinking creating a data frame will be useful. We can load all those posts into a data frame so that querying that becomes easier. Okay, so we are definitely creating a data frame. I will just initialize it to none for now. We are also creating a variable called unique tags. Okay, so this unique tags is nothing but the tags that you are populating in this particular drop down. So this one is also none. And then maybe I can have this function called load post, where I take a file path, and the purpose of this function is to populate these 2 variables based on this file path. Okay, so now I can read this file with open file path. Okay, I will supply encoding as F, and let me just import JSON module. So it's a JSON object, so I'm going to use json.load file, and then we will have post. Now if you have a JSON object like this, it's a list of like dictionaries, you can convert that into a Pandas data frame using a function called Let me see what is that function. So you can use Google, ChatGPT, whatever, and we found that it is called JSON normalize. Here you give this JSON object and it will create this data frame for you. Now you should obviously test this thing out. So I'm going to create a main function. We'll just test this thing quickly. Let's say you create an object of this class, and then when you create this object, you can specify a file path, but by default the file path is that. Okay, so we don't need to worry about it. And how about we do this in the constructor itself? We can say self.load post, okay, and we supply this file path. That way, the moment you construct this, the file will be loaded, df will be created, and this df, by the way, you can assign it here. Okay, let me add a breakpoint here, or maybe I can add a breakpoint here, and I can just say right click debug. That's what I do. Like I like this approach. Write some small piece of code and then test it, and then you can just say this. Now you see posts, these posts are loaded properly, all the posts are here, and when you create a data frame, your data frame is kind of visible. Now see, you have text, engagement, line count, language, and tags. Okay, perfect. So this is looking good. You can stop the execution here. Now see, in that data frame, we had a column called line count. But if you look at our front end, we don't take line count as an input. We take length. Now we can have some intrinsic definition of length, such as if it is between 1 to 5 lines, it is short post. If it is 5 to 10, it is medium. 10 to 15, it is long. You know, we can change that. So what I did is I wrote a very simple function, folks. I don't need to write it in front of you. Very straightforward. If you give a line count, it will tell you whether it's a short, medium, or long. And you can configure this, right, based on your preference. But for the LinkedIn influencer, Muskan, for whom we are creating this tool, let's say her definition of short post is less than 5. Okay, so we are defining this function. And then how about we add a column in our data frame? Okay, so here, what if we add a column called length? And what this will do is it will use the existing line count column, and on that we will apply some transformation. So in the apply, you can just pass this function. Okay, I think I should say self dot, and that will, I think, return this. Okay, so let's verify it. So what we can do is, as we did previously, we can put a breakpoint here, right click debug it, and we'll monitor the variable to see if it worked okay. Yeah, see, it worked okay. So there is a length, new column that has been created. If line count is 1, it is short, 7 is medium, this is short, 17 is long. Perfect. So this is working as expected. The other thing I would like to do is collect unique tags. Now in tags column, there are multiple tags, okay? I want to go over all the tags, collect them, and make a unique list. So how do we do that? For this, you can say df tags dot apply, okay, lambda x dot sum. So when you do sum, it will go through individual cells and it will collect them all into a single array, and that is your all tags. Okay, and then self dot unique tags. For unique tags, you need set, because if there are duplicates, you want to remove it. So pass this all tags here, but this all tags will be a pandas column, so you can convert it to a list. I think pandas column, or I forgot the variable. We can check the variable type, but when you do typecasting with list, it will convert to a list. Then when you do set, the only purpose of doing this set is to remove duplicate elements. So let's say if your job search a tag appearing multiple times, you are removing that. Okay, what I will do next is, I'm thinking maybe instead of doing self.df is equal to df, like right here itself, we can assign this. So that way we don't have to create that one extra variable. I think that works okay. Yeah, either way, I mean, it's fine. Okay, so now we have unique tags. So let me just verify if that thing works. Okay, so right click debug. Okay, FS, right? FS has this unique tag. See, now look at that career influencer. I hope you can see it. See, career, LinkedIn, scam, talent. I mean, there is a Sapna tag as well. So it's LLM. Sometimes it will not work. Okay, you have to do some fine tuning, testing, validation, heuristic, and so on. But for the purpose that we wrote this code for, it is working all good. And I can directly access self.unique tags, or I can write a simple function, like get tags, and that just returns self.unique tags. Okay, now as a next step, I would like to do this. See, if I call a function called get filtered post, then from medium English job search, it will return me all the post which has medium English and whatever is that topic. This is again like doing SQL query where you are saying if topic is equal to job search and language is English and the length is medium, return all those posts. Okay, so let's write that function. So def get filtered post, in which you are taking length, language, and tag as an input. And it's kind of straightforward. If you have worked with pandas data frame, all you need to do is supply that filter condition. So here we have three conditions, right? So df first of all, language is equal to language. Okay, I'll just put them in this. And okay, here you have to do self.df. I can maybe use the power of copy paste. And length is equal to length, because now we have this length column. Okay, and this is the third condition. You can take help of ChatGPT for this, folks. So here the tag that is coming from as a function input is just a single tag, but in the column you have literally like the array of tags. So what you're doing is you are looking into that particular column, and you are saying that if like lambda tags tag in tags. Okay, so this condition tag in tags means if you have a list, right? Like, so let me just show you. If you have a list, let's say my list is 1 3 4. Okay, correct, you have my list, and if you say 4 in my list, then it will say true. So if you have tag, let's say job search, what you're saying is this one. Tag in tags means job search in job search. Let's say this is the first tag and this is the second tag. This will return true, otherwise it will return false if it's not part of it. Okay, so that is this particular condition, and with this you will get a filtered list. And when you get that filtered list, it is another data frame, so you can convert that to a dictionary, because we want a dictionary with an orient command. So orient argument will control like how do you want that dictionary to be. Do you want it to be a list of dictionaries? In that case you can say orient is equal to record. Records actually is a plural, and then you return it. Okay, so now let's test this. So I'm looking for medium English job search. Okay, so right click, run. Okay, medium English job search, probably there are no posts like that, but let's say if you look at short English and job search, then you should at least find this one, right? So let's say job search English and short. So short. So see, you found this. Okay, you can test it for multiple scenarios and it is working. Okay, so let's say job search medium, let's say medium. Okay, so since this 7 is medium, so for medium okay, this 11 is long, 7 short 1. Yeah, there should be 2. So see, this is 1. Okay, there are no 2 because this one is in English. Okay, so let's see. I mean, you can test it using whatever filter you want to supply. So here. Okay, I'm not able to find to post here, but anyways, this few shot function is working okay now. As a next step, we are going to now build this UI where you have three controls. The first one is topic, second is length, third one is language. Streamlit is a very quick way to build a UI for your generative AI application. You can do pip install Streamlit and then you can import Streamlit as st. Now I'm doing this in my main.py file because that's the main entry point for this project, and here we will write Streamlit code and we'll run it to render that UI. So here let me just add the main function. So this is the main function, and when main function is called, I want to just have a function called main where I will be writing all my front-end code. Now, just in case if you're not aware, Streamlit makes building UI applications extremely easy. Here, you can build the title of your application, which is LinkedIn post generator, correct? So here I will say LinkedIn post generator. And then there are three controls which are in a same row. And whenever you want to have multiple controls in a same row, you will use something called columns. So it's like, this is your first column, this is second column, this is third column. Okay, so let me just show you. So we are having three columns. Okay, first one is called column 1, column 2, column 3. It returns a tuple as a return value, and to add controls within column, you will say with column 1. Now this one is a drop down, and the way you render drop down is by saying st.select box. The select box is called title, and the options, like all these options which are basically your tags, is something you need to get here. Now what are the options we want to put in fewshot.py? We have this function get tags, so this is exactly what we need. So I will import that from fewshot, import fewshot post. This is the class that I'm importing. I need to create an object of this class, which will be this. And then when you do fs.getTags, it will give you the tags. So fs.getTags. Okay, let's just run this much code and see what happens. You can go to terminal and you can say Streamlit run main.py. It will launch the application in a browser, so it will look something like this. And here, by the way, you can change it to dark theme. Okay, so I'm saying use system setting, but you can set dark theme and it will just render things into dark theme. You see all the tags which I had in my postprocess.json file, I have those tags here. Now let's add the two other columns. So I will say with column 2 st.select box. The other one is length. Okay, so length will have fixed length, short, medium, long. Language will have English and English. So that's actually very easy. So length is options. You will have short, medium, long. Okay, now folks, just to be a little bit more modular, I will just put those options here. That way I can pass this variable. I think, yeah, length options, right? So length. That way, you know, tomorrow if you want to add any new option, you can just add it here and it will work. And same way we'll do column 3. Okay, now here the return value, so whatever you select from the drop down will go to this variable. So selected length, this variable name can be anything, selected tag. Okay, so when someone clicks on it, it will save that value in these variable. And then at the bottom, if you look at our presentation, I think it was somewhere here. See, here you need generate button. And once again, Streamlit makes these things so easy. You can just say with st.button generate. Actually, it's not with, it is if. So if means if button is clicked, then it will go inside this one. Okay, and here I'm just putting a dummy post here, generated post for, let's say, see, you can just debug if things are working okay or not by putting this kind of dummy code. So selected tag is this, selected length is this, and then selected language is this. Now you don't need to rerun the app from your command prompt. You can directly rerun it by clicking on this rerun button and see. Now it looks good, right? So see, I can select any post here, like all these options, and when say generate, these values are being passed to those three variables. Now we can perform our wiring. Now let's write the final most important piece of code, which is the actual post generation. In main.py, once you have these three parameters, we need to pass that parameter to some function. And what if we have that function in a separate file? That will make our code more modular. So I will create a new file called post generator. And here, what if we have a function called generate post, which takes length, language, and topic as an input, and it returns the generated post. Okay. So let's say this returns some generated post. Now this function we can call from main.py. We can say from post generator import generate post, and then generate post length. What is a length? This one, length, language, and topic. So selected tag, and it will create this post, which you can simply write post here, and it should work okay, right? This will be a good way to write that modular code. So now let's go to post generator. Here we are going to obviously import LLM, because we'll use a LLM for the post generation. So import LLM, and in that LLM we can just say LLM.invoke. Okay, so LLM.invoke, we will have some prompt. Prompt is the actual query. Okay, and that will return some response, and that response dot content is something that we can return back. I hope this is not overwhelming, folks. We have covered this previously in this video, so I'm not spending too much time, otherwise this tutorial gets too long. Essentially, you are calling LLM and you are just invoking that. By the way, I have some syntax problems. So from LLM helper import LLM. Okay, this looks good now. And sometimes you see this kind of error kind of thing. It is just because of PAP8 convention. You need to have just two spaces, you know, that's what it is. It's nothing big. All right, now what is my prompt? If you look at our presentation, what we'll do is we'll write this kind of prompt: generate a LinkedIn post using this information, no preamble, topic, length, language, and we'll have few short learning. We'll supply some examples, but let's not worry about examples. Let's say if you can generate a simple prompt like this, which has topic. So topic is something you get from this drop down. We have length. Length is also something you get from here, and language is also something you get from here. Now see, one thing about length is, when you say medium, long, the LLM doesn't understand what it means exactly. So instead of medium, what if I can say generate a post which is 5 to 10 lines? If I give exact lines, then it will be able to help me better, because I might think medium is 5 to 10 lines, but LLM may think medium is 10 to 20 lines. It's better if you are explicit. Now the question is, the length you get here is either short, medium, long. How do you convert that into lines? Maybe we can write a Python function. And since writing that Python function is super easy, I'm not going to write the whole function in front of you. All this function is doing is taking a length. If it is short, it is returning this kind of explicit line number, like 1 to 5 lines, 6 to 10 lines, and so on. And we can call that function. We can say, okay, get length, and this will be the length string. And then I can have this prompt return like this. So I'm saying generate a LinkedIn post using the below information. Okay, I'll just call this tag instead of topic. No preamble. Topic is whatever you're getting from function arguments. length is, instead of short, medium, long, you will have explicit length like this. Language is either English or Hinglish. Now Hinglish it may not understand properly, so maybe we can add one more line explaining what Hinglish means. So I will add these 2 lines. I'll say if language is English, then it means it's mix of this. The script of the generated post should always be English. I mean, I don't want it to write in a Hindi actually, like a Hindi, the writing script. I want writing script to be English always. So we can add all these explicit instructions and then supply this prompt and it should kind of work. So we still don't have few short those examples which it can use to get understanding on my writing style. But let me just test these things. So here, maybe we don't need to test it through Streamlit. We can just write a function here. So if name is equal to underscore main, then generate post. So let's say I want short post and I want, okay, what is the first parameter? Oh, length. Okay. Language. Okay. Language. I want English. And tag, I want mental health, or let's say job search. Okay. I just want to test this thing, how it works, and right click and run. Perfect. See, it is actually working fine. Boost your job search with these tips. So right now it is using just general LLM knowledge to write this post. It doesn't have knowledge on how Muskan is writing, right? So Muskan is the LinkedIn influencer whose post we are using here in process post.json. So if we supply some of these posts as an example post, then it will create this final post according to Muskan's writing style. Okay. So right now, without that writing style, it is working okay. Now here we need to add those examples. Now once again here we can use fewshort.py. So in fewshort.py, if you say fs.getFilterPost and give the topic, it will give you those posts, correct? So let's use this function exactly. I will go to post generator, and you know what I'll do is let me append those examples dynamically to this prompt. Because what if you don't find any examples? If you don't find any examples for a given topic, length, etc., you will still generate a post without Muskan's writing style. Okay. So here I will say I need to import that class. So from fewshort import fewshort post, and then let me just create a class right here outside. I mean, I can create it inside also, but every time it will create the new instance of that class. So therefore I am doing this. Then get filter post. Okay. Get filter post for length, language, and tag. So length, language, and tag is something I can pass here. And these are my examples. Now, if length of examples is greater than 0. See, if it is not greater than 0, if you don't find any examples, then go ahead with this prompt. It's fine. But let's say if you find some examples, then you can have that fewshort learning where you supply those examples. So I will append to that prompt. I will say prompt plus is equal to this. And then I add the actual example. So you will say, for example, in examples, actually I need the index as well. So what I'll do is I post in enumerate. You know, right? Like when you do enumerate in Python, you get the index of the post as well as the real post. And the post text is post of text, correct? Because you are getting this object which will have text, engagement, everything. You just want to grab this text and then the actual prompt. So prompt plus is equal to /n you need to, let's say, let me just show you in PPT. See, if you have this kind of post, you need /n, then you need example 1, example 2, and after example 1, the actual post. So I will say example I, correct? So this is a format string. And then /n, and then the actual post. So actual post text is this, and we need maximum 2 examples. So I will say if I equal to 2 break. So I starts with 0, so 0 and 1, and when it becomes 2, you break it. Or actually when it becomes 1, so it will go through 0th iteration and then 1 iteration. Okay, 1. Now I think this prompt looks good. Let's see. Okay, I'm just reading the code. Okay, this is looking good. To make it modular further, we can actually create a function called get prompt, which will take the same number of argument. And what if we put all this code into get prompt? So the responsibility of this get prompt function is to take length, language, and tag, and then just return the prompt. Okay, so this will return the prompt, and here, yeah, so here prompt will be get prompt, which takes these 3 as an input. Okay, my code looks much better now. See, generate post function, what it is doing is getting a prompt, then it is invoking LLM, and what get prompt is doing is just getting your prompt. Okay, so we can test this function. Let me just test the get prompt function for short, English, and job search. If you look at job search, see, English and short, at least it should give me this in my few short prompt. It should give this particular post. Okay, so post generator, right click, run. Perfect. See, what it did is it says, so this is the prompt it is printing: generate a LinkedIn post using this information. Topic is job search. Okay, short, English, perfect. Use the writing style as per following example. So okay, it's seeing example 0, maybe I can do example 1, and there's a space I need to add. So here I add space I+1. Okay, and column, say I have this sample post, I'm just following this convention. So example space, then the number, column, and then this. Okay, this part looks good. Run it, and now this looks much better. See, and if you have more examples, it will say example 1, example 2, and so on. Now I can test my generate post function. So my prompting looks good, and after that you're just passing that to your LLM. Okay, so let's say for job search short English, what it can give us. Job hunting can be a roller coaster. One day you're on top of whatever. See, it generated this particular post, and it is 1-line post, because if you look at your few short, the example that you give, looking for job is like online dating, full of prophecy, just left coasted. So this generated post is kind of matching that style that you're having here. So this looks good. Actually, this function looks good. I can complete my wiring. I can go to main.py, and I'm already calling generate post. Okay, wiring is already done. Okay, so why don't we go to our UI and just test that code. Okay, so here I will say rerun, and after rerunning, I need to make sure I'm using some of these examples. So let's say you're writing this post on job search, but medium length, see, and it will use this kind of style. So job search, but medium. So let me use job search, medium, and English, and generate. Job seekers. See, since my example has job seekers, it is using that as an example, which is good actually. If you have more examples, maybe you can convert your few short from 2 examples to 3 examples. You know, the breakpoint that you put it here. If I do 2, it will actually take 3 examples. So you can customize that. That thing doesn't matter. I mean, that's something you can do fine tuning. But overall, my code seems to be working okay. I can also try a different language like English. So in English, short post. Okay, so I can read this particular post. You just read it, and we'll be generating LinkedIn post in that. I mean, people who know Hindi will be able to understand this. So let me just try that. So we'll say English, short, and topic is job search, right? See, जॉब सर्च करने वाले यार कभी कभी अप्लाइड लिखने से पहले एक बार रिज्यूमे को जरूर चेक करो. It's see, for the purpose for which we have designed this, it is working okay. Obviously we can fine tune it, but as your learning project, this looks good. I think we have completed everything. I mean, there might be corner cases, folks. There might be bugs. You can go ahead and fix those, do thorough testing. I mean, I did some testing, sanity testing. There won't be any obvious bugs. When I say bugs, it's not like I've intentionally introduced the bugs, but this is not like thoroughly stress tested. So I will encourage you test it thoroughly. If you find any issues, fix it. But as far as the project is concerned, the coding is complete. You will find the code in the video description below. Now, folks, I want to give you some exercise so that if you are adding this project in your resume or in your portfolio, it doesn't look like a copy-paste project from YouTube. YouTube project that we just did, use it for learning. But then you need to have your own kind of customization. So I will give you some ideas. So as an exercise, you can add a drop down called influencer. Right now, we created this tool for Muskan Handa for one influencer. But what if you have a drop down of couple of influencers and you can grab their post and maybe save them in a database. So right now we used a JSON file as a database. Maybe you use MySQL or MongoDB and store your post into that. And then these topics, when you select Muskan, these topics will be for Muskan. When you select Akshat, or let's say, I also do a write post on LinkedIn. So if you select my name, the topics here will be data science and career guidance and so on. So these topics should be populated dynamically based on your selection of the influencer. Length, language should also be same. I think length you can have a fixed, short, medium and long, but language, for example, I don't write usually post in like English, Hindi mix. So that is something you can keep it dynamic. You can also customize it like, okay, you want to add some emojis. Do you want to add a last line asking viewers to engage on your post? You can add those kind of customizations and create these LinkedIn posts. Now, folks, just be aware about privacy concerns. For example, if you are using some influencers post and scrapping their data, you need to give a due credit. Okay. You can of course take inspiration from their writing style. That's perfectly fine. But don't just build this tool and blindly just copy paste those posts on your own LinkedIn. Okay. If you're doing that, you need to give a credit because you are using someone's writing style, someone's knowledge. We need to be a responsible citizen, a responsible person on social media and give a due credit. But I hope you like this project, folks. If you liked it, please share it with your friends who are learning Gen AI. And also, whatever you learned from this project, you can also post on LinkedIn. You can create a LinkedIn post and say, hey, I learned Gen AI concept, these many concepts from this particular project. You can also tag me and I will engage if I have time. But I hope you had a good time learning this. If you have any questions, post in a comment box below. Thank you for watching.